going to be putting this carburetor, cleaning this carburetor, and then putting it back together. First thing we're going to do is spray it all off with compressed air. Don't want to get this diaphragm wet with carburetor cleaner or gas. It'll cause it to shrink or expand and it won't fit right. So we want to keep that away from it. Okay, then you'll want to take compressed air and blow through all of these ports here. Make sure they're completely cleaned out. If the carburetor is in very bad condition, you want to soak that carburetor overnight in some carburetor parts cleaner. This carburetor is in very good condition. A little bit of debris in the bottom there. That can be cleaned up pretty easily. So take and clean that out. Clean the top of the carburetor off, and this is more just to look nice because this top of the carburetor doesn't, as long as it moves freely, it doesn't do a whole lot as far as getting plugged up with bad fuel. The jets here, clean those out with carb cleaner and then blow through them with compressed air. And then when you hold these up to light, you want to be able to see right through them. Again, if you can't see through them, then there's an issue and you want to clean them up. Now a lot of times with these, what I'll do is just take and clean them up. As long as they're not too bad, clean them up with a paper towel just to clean the dirt and grime off of there if there is any. And then it's actually ready to go back together. This was a pretty simple carburetor. Make sure that these ports are cleaned out here. Where your fuel comes in is right here. Where your fuel goes into the carburetor, the bowl of the carburetor is right here. So you want to make sure those are in good condition. Now we're going to put the main jet back in. That's the bigger of the two jets. We've got the pilot jet here. That's just going to slide down in there. Grab a flat screwdriver and turn them in. Now again, you don't have to tighten these up very tight. You want to make sure that when you're tightening them up, you don't round off the flat head of the screw, because next time going together, you won't be able to loosen or tighten it. So here's your needle, and on this style, the needle just slides down in there, and then the bowl part where it's brass, you can actually take and spray this with carb cleaner. This one looks to be in good condition. You just want to inspect it for holes or any other kind of bends or breaks. And now this peg here can slide right back in. Take it and just barely tap on it so you don't break anything. You want to make sure everything's lined up. Otherwise that peg won't go in. And a lot of times this will be finger tight. If it's been set for a long time, you might have to persuade it a little bit, but you don't want to put too much pressure on it. All this really needs to do is go in far enough to sit there, and then for that to go on top. So it looks like, it feels like it needs to be just a hair more. Again, you want to make sure you don't go too far that it breaks these pegs. And then you take and slide this bowl back on, inspect it to make sure it's clean. And this one, push that clamp there and you're all set. Now to put this slide back down in there, and look down in there and you'll see your idle adjust screw right here, and that will contact your carburetor right here. If you see here, when you turn this screw, you can do it with the fingers or with a flat screwdriver. Turn that screw, it'll turn that screw, pushing it in, pushing this slide to go up a little bit, causing more air to flow through, pulling more fuel, and allowing your bike to rev up a little bit more. Now when this goes back in, you want to hold it straight up and down so that your needle will go right into your main jet area there. And that should slide fairly freely down. If it doesn't, then you've got problems. Maybe you need to do a little more cleaning. Now take and just make sure that seals very well. If this gets gas or carburetor cleaner on it, it will cause it not to seat properly and you will have issues. So you want to make sure it's staying completely down. If it is not, then what you can do is set out in the sun, let it dry out, let it sit overnight, and it'll dry out that way. Now this will push on that diaphragm when you're going back together. So what I do is take my finger, hold it up, allowing it to set where it needs to set, and then as long as you can keep pressure on it, your fingers will be stronger than that spring in order to hold that on there. Now you take and put these back in, and you want to make sure you keep putting pressure on it, that way that O-ring or that diaphragm doesn't pop out of the place that it needs to be seated. So don't completely tighten them down because you will have to move around a little bit to get these, to get another screw in. And then generally once you get 2 in, that'll hold it enough to tighten these down. And you may have to loosen them if it's not quite in the right position, but there's a longer screw here to go through this one. Put those all on. All right, there's your carburetor there. Slides up and down, moves freely, and this carburetor is ready to go.